All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a look at writing more equations, and this time it comes in the case of word problems. So to learn more about water evaporation, you measure the depth of a puddle after a rainstorm. Your first measurement, taken 3 hours after the rainstorm, was 2.25 inches. So we've got these two different measurements, two different units. So we know one is going to have to be our x, one's going to have to be our y. That's how we control things in science. You take another measurement and determine that the water is evaporating at a rate of 1/4 inch per hour. We've got this lovely word rate that you're going to need to start recognizing as slope, ladies and gentlemen. This is 1/4 inch per hour. It's how we're changing. All right? It says let x represent the number of hours, so x is hours. And let y represent the depth, so y is inches. Now the reason that that's important is that I'm going to do a split screen here and we're going to try and write an equation. So as I go through here and write that linear equation, I have to be able to pull together, because I have a slope, I've got to be able to pull together an ordered pair. So I have to be able to write an x comma y. X is hours, so this 3 hours that we had is our x. This 2.25 inches is our y. What we need to be careful of here, ladies and gentlemen, is we're measuring after the rainstorm, not during it. And so what we're taking a look at is evaporation. And what we know about evaporation is that things are decreasing. And so we're going to have a negative slope. So my m value is not 1/4. M is equal to negative 1/4. So we're going to go through, and I'm not sure if I can spread these out a little bit. Not there. Let's try and spread that out and give us some more room there. What we can do here now is take y minus y, my 2.25, and set it equal to m, the negative 1/4, times my x, and that's going to be minus 3. So we're going to distribute. We have negative 1/4 x plus 3/4. We distribute the negative 1/4 to the negative 3. And then we have y minus 2.25. We're going to add 2.25. And so what that gives me, I've got y equals, I've got this negative 1/4, so that's the rate at which I'm changing, and I'm adding those together. 3/4 plus 2 and 1/4 gives me plus 3, which means this tells me what I start at. And it's kind of like when we're graphing, that's what B does. It tells us where we start. So now what we're going to do is use the equation to estimate the depth of the puddle 7 hours after the storm. Still pretty important that you're reading these and then we go back to our problem. I've got 7 hours. X was hours, Y was inches. So the 7 hours is an X value. Why is that important? Well, I'm going to use substitution like we have in the past. This is X is equal to 7. I have an equation. I'm going to plug 7 in for X. So I'm going to have Y is equal to negative 1/4 times 7 plus 3. It becomes pretty simple and straightforward at this point that we can just evaluate this expression and get y is equal to, I'm going to take negative 1/4 times 7 plus 3, and that gives me 1.25. We need to make sure we're labeling all the time. And when we go back and look, y represented inches, so we have 1.25 inches. And so that fits with what we think about in terms of evaporation. It should be decreasing. 3 hours it was at 2.25 inches. At 7 hours, it should be even lower than that, so 1.25 inches. Now it's asking us, what will the depth of the puddle, when will the depth of the puddle be a ½ inch? We're looking at inches. This is a y value. So now I know y is equal to 0.5. we're always going back to our original equation. That's what we're using. It's an equation to model. So this is what we use for all of our additional problem solving. But what we're going to do is we're going to plug that 0.5 in for y. So we're going to have y equals 1/2 equals -1/4 x plus 3. Now I'm solving for a when, so I'm solving for a time. So I'm going to solve for x. -3 from each side. I get -2.5 is equal to -1/4 x. I need to divide by -1/4. Looking pretty good so far, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So I have x is equal to, I'm even going to cheat and grab my calculator, -2.5 divided by -1/4. And I get 10. I need to figure out what 10 is. They're asking for when. I was solving for x. X is hours, so 10 hours is when we have that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's what you're going to do on your own. We've got one last problem. I'm going to go full screen on it. What I want you to do is I want you to determine, okay, do you have M and a point, or do you have 2 points? Because remember from yesterday's lesson, we can write an equation given 2 points. We just have to calculate the slope. So I want you guys to look at that, determine that, and then what we'll do is we'll come together in class and finish this. All right? You guys have a great afternoon.